Now we're going to talk about how to make time.
I'm sorry, that still just cracks me up. How do you do that? You make like 25 hours in a day?
Well, notice I didn't say find time. It's a lot harder to find time because it just always disappears. But you can make time, you can prioritize, and we're going to talk about how to do that.
Let's learn how.
Okay, so first of all, the question, this is what I get asked all the time, is how much time will I need to create my STEP system? Now, here's the answer. Approximately 15 to 20 hours, but we're going to divide it into 10-minute microbursts.
And we've been kind of joking about what should microbursts be called. I like that phrase, but there's probably lots of other words you would use, snippets or windows or segments or islands of time. So maybe, as we have a discussion ongoing, what would be the way you want to categorize those 10-minute little bursts of time where you can get a lot done? Those things pop up from time to time. You can use them to your advantage.
Right. Now, usually when I say 15 to 20 hours, that sounds totally overwhelming. If I came to your house, I could do it with you in 15 to 20 hours. Now, that doesn't mean that every nook and cranny of your house is totally organized and everything's streamlined and decluttered. It just means that you're going to have a system set up that will set you up for absolute success with your emails,
You're going to fully
tasks.
build the machine in a
Right.
simple way that's usable, probably in a 2 to 3 day window, not
Right.
killing yourselves. That's how fast it could go.
It could go that way.
But we can stretch it out over 2 weeks or a month or two, whatever you want,
Yeah.
in these 10-minute microbursts.
Right. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about how that time is broken up into little segments. Now, first of all, it's going to take about an hour to set up your space. This is just deciding where you're going to build your STEP system. You don't have to have a fancy office. You don't have to have everything perfect, but we're just going to start. Next, we're going to spend about 2 hours to get your emails to 0.
And I just comment on here, a lot of people will kind of get bogged down on this one, feel like it's so hard to get a big overwhelmed email inbox down to 0. And we don't want them to get overwhelmed there and stop. What it's simply taking your emails and maybe processing through the last week or two to make sure you've got any outstanding obligations, but then taking all the rest of them and just moving them over into a big folder in your email system called to sort. You can process through those later, but being able to work from a clean, clear, empty email inbox going forward will really lighten your load. It'll just give you this peace of mind you can move forward through.
Right. And we'll go into specifics about that later, but that's the general idea. They don't need to feel like it's such a big deal. Then you're going to need about 2 hours to collect your tools. Some of these will be digital, some of these will be for paper, but we're going to help you go around your house, gather things you already have. You might want to run to the store to get a couple more things, but essentially you're going to get all the resources that you're going to need to build the system. And then we'll take about an hour to build it, which means that we're labeling, we're putting things together, we're putting them in an order and in a framework that's really going to work for us moving forward.
And again, it's just building a simple machine that works. You can optimize it, add extra elements to it later on, but just getting a basic system that'll work for you in that hour.
Okay, then we'll take about 2 hours to gather your stuff. This means all the papers that are all over the place, getting your tasks and ideas out of your head. This will take a little bit of time and effort, but it's going to be amazing for you to get to see what you can do with it.
And we give you triggers to be able to figure out where to get all the physical stuff out of your house, where it's piling up, as well as to kind of get all the ideas and then projects and things that you need out of your head. Just have that physical and that mental space. It may feel a little overwhelming and you look at it and think about, oh my goodness, there's a lot in front of me.
You might want to cry.
But I think that's the lowest point in this program. We're going to walk you right out of that valley and show you how in this next step, how you process these things quickly. But to have it all out of your head, all out of your space, really does work wonders.
Right. And then it takes about 5 to 10 hours to process. Now, again, you might not process everything in your entire house, but you'll have the ability to process the things that are there on your plate, things that are overwhelming you, and be able to put them into your system in a way that will get you really excited. Then we'll take about an hour to show you how to do your very first weekly review. And then we'll take about an hour to learn about project planning. All the big projects you want to get done, they will not seem impossible anymore.
Like I say, that weekly review will be a powerful tool you'll use every week to keep your machine running. That's about all you need to invest in it. 1 hour per week, maybe 10 to 15 minutes a day. And really, we are basing on these microbursts that anyone can find. 10 minutes. Everyone has that. We can make that if we want to build it into our system. And that hour a week really does. It just changes how you're able to focus and get things done in work and projects you have, but also in your relationships with your family and with others you care about, really making time for the things that do matter most to you.
Exactly. All right. So here's what you will not have to do. You are not going to restructure your life and your commitments. We're guessing that you're busy. You've got a ton of stuff going on. You're not going to have to change all of that. Also, you're not going to get overwhelmed with tons of information. Eric and I have gone through this process to make it so simple for you so that you can just apply exactly the steps that we outline and you'll be able to see success right away. You also won't have to sort through a lot of complicated ideas. This is just done at a very, very simple way that even a child could understand it, but you can apply this to your family, to your company, to even the most complex projects that you have on your plate.
You know, one of April's great talents is to take complex ideas or books or systems and make them really, really simple, break them down to their component parts, and just take things step by step to get anybody through it. It's very, very helpful the way she's designed this.
And we're going to have a lot of fun together along the way.
We are going to have a great time.
Okay, now Eric's going to talk to us about the parable of the two trees.
I don't know if it's a parable. Maybe it's more of an analogy. But, you know, just the idea that a lot of programs and things out there, resources that we can buy, tend to come in and say, okay, we're going to give you this, and here it's 30 hours of video, or it's these 3 books you need to read. We want to hand it to you again in this micro burst, little bit by bit pieces. You know, you eat an elephant one bite at a time if you're trying to consume elephants. But just the analogy here is that, you know, we live in Southern California in orange and lemon country where a lot of citrus trees are raised. And they've come up with a really effective way of irrigating. It's very concentrated, very focused. And they run a drip line irrigation system around the base of the tree and just little by little, slowly drop irrigation into where the tree's root system is. It would be, you know, the way we want to have this program work for you. Very different than having an orange grove at the bottom of Niagara Falls, which there are none, which is why we had to create the image like this. There's just no
fancy?
Orange orchards growing at the bottom of Niagara. But, you know, you don't want to have just everything poured out or dumped on you
Like
and just
a
feel
fire
like,
hose,
I can't
right?
do it.
Yeah.
I can't process all this, so you give up. We're going to work with this system to microburst, drip irrigation, what you need to you in little 10-minute bursts.
Right. And what you're going to find is that you're going to feel momentum as you move forward. It's going to be really exciting. Okay, so how can we creatively make 10 minutes appear?
We're
Here's
magical.
A few ideas.
You're a magician. You get a wand. So, you know, while you're commuting, how do you use that time when you don't have to think about or do anything necessarily? You know, sometimes you might need to take a phone call or something, but you could listen to audio files. You could be thinking in your head, you know, creating some goals or ideas. You can create little windows of time in that drive.
Exactly. You could also do 10-minute microbursts, maybe 3 in a row, right when everyone leaves the house or when a child goes down for a nap.
You would give up nap time from microburst?
No, but I would give a few minutes of my nap time, and then I would
So you
take the
put
nap.
10 minutes up first, get something done, then take a quick nap.
Right.
You can also give up TV shows, 1 or more each evening for 2 weeks. You'll be able to find the time. Giving up a show, and thanks to DVR, you could not necessarily miss something.
Yeah.
But you're just carving out time for something that matters more to you.
You also might want to delegate household jobs to other family members. I was a little hesitant to do this, but Eric convinced me that our children were perfectly capable of doing things like laundry and mowing the lawn and doing the dishes and making dinner.
And clearing 40-acre tracts of land if you'll let them.
It's been kind
Children
of amazing.
can be pretty amazingly productive. You can say no to excess emails. We get overwhelmed with all kinds of stuff flowing into our boxes. April's going to show you how to set up some filters and things like that. She could cut down the email that gets to you by 70, 80%. So you have to
Right.
handle all the junk.
And we could just decide not to answer every email that really isn't important. I could spend all day emailing and not get anything else done. So just saying no to a few of those emails will give us more time. Also, we could just decide not to get on social media until we've done our STEP system for the day.
And we won't embarrass anybody, but if you could answer the question, how much time per day do you spend on some social media platform? It might be a little overwhelming, a little sizable there. So maybe it's a reward. As you get something done, you spend 5 or 10 minutes catching up on social media after you've done a microburst or 2. So this is where April kind of told me we were talking about this concept a little earlier as we planned this video out. And, you know, all of us can do this, right? Yes, you may have to make some sacrifices, but if this is something you really want, I jokingly say it's time to put on your big boy or your big girl pants and make these sacrifices, take these steps, because if you want it, you can do it. This is totally within the reach of anybody. So put those pants on and let's get marching.
And then also, I think it's exciting to think about this momentum. And Eric loves to talk about the flywheel. But can you share that concept?
Yeah, I tried to find a great video of this on YouTube, a good explanation, demonstration, but there isn't really a good one out there. So if anyone out there is a big mechanical engineer, you want to create an awesome flywheel video, please do. But the idea of a flywheel, it starts building up its momentum with little movements at first, swinging one way and then swinging up, storing up this energy so that it can actually start going in a rotation and working off the energy that it's built up. So at first, the first couple steps, the first couple microbursts might feel a little uphill, but as you start to leverage and harness this energy as it starts rocking, the one I would give is an example of it rocking side to side, each time getting a little bit higher with a little bit more applied energy. once that weighted wheel starts actually spinning, it doesn't take much energy to keep the momentum going, to keep things going forward.
Right. And that momentum is what's going to keep you going. So, yes, you can make the time. Yes, we're going to walk you through this and help you do it. And yes, it will be definitely worth it.
You can do this.